Welcome to SOS Media, your number one source of the latest news, opinions, and in-depth investigations that dig deeper into today's developing stories around the globe. Boosie BadAzz has been one of the biggest Tupac fans out there for quite a long time. Now, Boosie has weighed in on the arrest of alleged Tupac killer Keefe D. Early this year, Boosie BadAzz paid tribute to Tupac while visiting the site of his murder in Las Vegas. Boosie took a moment to sign his signature on numerous memorial sites before showing his followers the exact street corner where Pac was gunned down in September 1996. On the scene where Pac got shot, Boosie said in a video shared to his Instagram, "This where Tupac got shot right here. Rest up in peace, Tupac got hit right here, the car pulled over right up there. Pac, love you," he said. This is far from the first time Boosie BadAzz has gone to bat for the late Tupac. Following an extensive interview T-Pain did with academics last July, Boosie came for the "buy you a drink" crooner after he said Pac likely wouldn't have been able to lyrically keep up with today's rappers. The controversial comments caused Boosie BadAzz to react on social media, writing that he thinks the lyricism of these past few years wouldn't even be in the same league as Pac's. "Tupac was a great lyricist," Boosie wrote. "You probably wouldn't understand him if you never been through the struggles that this world brings. I disagree, the lyrics and songs these days last a couple years and they are gone because they don't have meaning. The lyrics don't touch your heart," Boosie noted. Boosie sat down with Vlad TV for an interview released on Tuesday, October 31st. Vlad asked rapper Boosie if he was surprised that Keefe D had been arrested, given that the accused killer had at one point been given qualified immunity for admitting his involvement. But as Vlad explained to Boosie that immunity only applied to the statements Keefe made at the moment immunity was granted. If he made similar statements at a different time, those could be used against him. Boosie was previously unaware of that detail, which explains his initial reaction when he heard about the arrest. Boosie told Vlad that he was kind of surprised because Keefe D had been talking about it, and he thought when he got busted that he had immunity. "So when he got arrested I was like, immunity must be now gone. I thought he would never get arrested for it because I thought that if you get immunity, it's done," he continued. It's true that in recent weeks, there have been surprising new developments in the murder case of the rapper Tupac Shakur, which felt as if it might be stuck in a resolved but unsolved limbo forever. This is truly a complicated new chapter in one of hip-hop's longest, most well-known mythologies, and one that is revealing ways in which the story has lost some of its nuance in the course of becoming folklore. On September 29, a Nevada grand jury indicted Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, sometimes called Keefe D, in connection with the 1996 killing. Chief Deputy District Attorney Mark DiGiacomo described Davis as the on-ground, on-site commander who ordered the death. Tupac himself always had the makings of a mythic figure, and in realizing that myth has come to represent our collective need for martyrs and closed loops. His story has been told many times by many people with their own agendas. Named for an indigenous rebel, he was conceived while his mother, Afeni, was on trial as a member of the Panther 21, accused of planning a coordinated attack that included a bombing. As a performing arts student in Baltimore, Tupac ascended from extra and dancer in the Oakland group Digital Underground to actor and solo superstar in only a few years, and several face-offs with law enforcement merely enhanced his legend. That legend has grown larger than the man himself, in part because his brief career produced so much music, commerce and conflict beyond his death. He built up a reputation as an indestructible force while alive, particularly after a 1994 shooting at Quad Studios where he resisted being robbed at gunpoint. In the aftermath, he accused the Notorious B.I.G. and Bad Boy Records head Sean Puffy Combs of being privy to or orchestrating the attack. Tupac was rolled into court in a wheelchair a day after the shooting and found guilty of first-degree abuse for forcibly and indecently touching a woman in a 1993 hotel incident. In October 1995, after Suge Knight posted Tupac's Bond with backing from their shared label Interscope, the rapper joined Knight's Bad Boy rival, Death Row Records in Los Angeles, becoming the face of a West Coast movement. In allying with Suge Knight, who was an enforcer turned cutthroat businessman and Death Row, Tupac inherited the tycoon's many beefs. Suge encouraged his resentment for Bad Boy and the Notorious B.I.G. The resentment lingered through the summer of 1996, when Tupac released the Bad Boy diss Hit Them Up. It is true that gossip has defined the Tupac case from the beginning and been key to the subsequent myth-making of many of the players. Some have speculated that Bad Boy was involved in the 1996 shooting, a sentiment that has re-emerged since news of Davis's arrest, based on a connection between Davis and the label. That suspicion, too, has managed to stay stuck in the gears of the unsolved case despite immediate pushback. A few weeks after the shooting, Knight dismissed the idea that the feud with Bad Boy had anything to do with Tupac's death. "It's something that's trumpeted by the press, it's not true," he assured everyone. When the notorious B.I.G. was killed in 1997, the deaths of the two icons, former friends turned coastal competitors, became forever entangled. From the outset, members of the South Side Crips were considered likely suspects in the Tupac shooting. Both Anderson and Davis were part of a South Side set known as the Boris Street Crew. In October 1996, Anderson was arrested in a gang sweep on an outstanding warrant and held for questioning in connection with Tupac's murder by Compton police, but he was released 2 days later for lack of evidence and never charged with the shooting. Members of the Tupac and Death Row entourages upholding a street ethic were largely uncooperative. "We were hoping he would tell us who shot him," Homicide Sergeant Kevin Manning said of Knight. "He didn't give us anything beneficial." Knight told Primetime Live that he doesn't get paid to solve homicides. By January 1997, two narratives were forming. Outsiders were saying the cops had no interest in solving the crime and cops were saying no one was talking. "We have no direct evidence nor do we have a witness," Manning said. "That's where we stand until somebody comes forward and is willing to stand up and give us accurate information." In February, Manning said that they considered Anderson to be a suspect in the shooting but at that moment had no direct evidence to connect him to the crime. Yafu Fula, a member of Tupac's group Outlaws known as Yaki Gaddafi who told police he could identify the shooter, was killed in an unrelated shooting in New Jersey in November 1996. In early 1997, two witnesses told the Los Angeles Times that they saw Tupac's shooters but were never asked by Las Vegas police to view pictures of possible suspects. In the wake of the Los Angeles Police Department Task Force investigation, Davis has been very forthcoming with his version of the shooting, allegedly because he made a deal. Tim Brennan and Bob Lane still aren't sure how Kading and the task force were able to grant Keefe D immunity on a case that belonged to Las Vegas, Lolita Files wrote. "I sang because they promised I would not be prosecuted," Davis wrote in his book. Thank you for watching today's video brought to you by SOS Media. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our videos. Also remember to leave your comment about today's topic in the comment section below.